Ladies and gentlemen, we begin this second hour of the program with Metallica. Whiplash is the name of the song. Now, why are we doing that? We don't play a lot of Metallica here at CJ 8800. Today's hits, yesterday's classics, but not so much Metallica, especially this song, Whiplash. The reason we're playing it to kick off the second hour of the show is because in studio right now is a man wearing a Metallica t-shirt. You know him? You love him. It's Stephane Giroux from CTV Montreal. Hi, Stephane.
Good morning.
I'm so happy to have you on. And you know, over the years, right? This is so interesting. Over the years, you've been on this show as a guest, right? Not necessarily to talk about your reporting at CTV, but you've done amazing things. Yeah, you made your own camper van. You drove out across the country. Whole bunch of opportunities to have you on the show. So I want to thank you for coming on once again this morning.
I'm a storyteller and I do a lot of stuff, so no problem. I can do this anytime.
And you are a storyteller, and one of the great things about you, and I know so many of our listeners, your viewers, also get to connect with you on social media.
I'm active, yes.
You're active there, and I saw you share a story on social media, and this is why you're in this morning. And it was a story about your car and what happened to it. You live, you say, a 5-minute walk from the station, from here.
Yeah.
What happened to your car?
Well, I think for the umpteenth time since I moved in the village 15 years ago, my car was once again broken into. And, okay, it happens. Mm-hmm. I live in a tough neighborhood, to say the least. And, you know, Saturday morning, I had to go to work. I normally I walk, but now I have to drive because we had to move our studios.
Yes.
And, okay, what is this, 7 a.m.? And I saw that my passenger side window had been smashed on the back, and I was concerned because on the back seat of our car, my wife and I have a baby carriage. You know, I'm a grandfather. We're grandparents. Yeah. We're always babysitting someone. And it was covered with broken glass. Ugh. And I'm there like, oh, no, not again. And, of course, nothing was stolen because I'm not so stupid as to leave anything valuable in my car. Yeah. And, you know, there was even droplets of blood because whoever did this was really desperate. Yeah. The only thing the person stole was a couple of chewy bars that we keep in the center console in case I get stuck in traffic and hungry. Yeah. And to me, okay, this is something that happens over and over and over. Most of the time I don't claim insurance because, first of all, a broken side window is within my deductible.
That's right.
And second of all, well, you know, I would be paying twice the value of my 10-year-old car at this point in insurance. But it's starting to feel like enough is enough because I've witnessed the neighborhood decline severely over the past 3 years. I've been living there for 15 years. I've always known that this was a tough neighborhood, a mix of gentrification, a mix of, you know, people who are suffering from mental illness, a lot of addiction, and unfortunately, a lot of drug dealers.
Well, listen, I'll tell you, Stephane, right? A year ago, I was living, a 10-minute walk from here. That has all changed. Yeah. And, you know, I think there's a balance to everything in life. And I think, okay, I'm going to live downtown. I'm going to have great access to X, Y, and Z. I'll be able to walk to work, all of those cons, all those pros. There will be a few cons, but you know what? Balance overall, it's fine. And what I found is that as the days progressed, the balance, it wasn't balancing out. The cons of being in the neighborhood were increasing. On this program, we've talked to politicians, we've talked to people who live, the business people, that kind of stuff over the years about what's happening in the village. When you talk to your neighbors, what are they telling you? What's the frustration like?
My neighbors say they don't feel safe anymore. My wife is 5 foot tall. I'm 6'3". I'm a big guy, so obviously I can walk anywhere without really being fearful. But nowadays, I kind of look behind my back. Yeah. My wife doesn't get out of the house anymore or walks on René Lévesque because she finds St. Catherine too dangerous. Yeah. And my neighbors say the exact same thing. One of my next door neighbor has 2 young daughters, And he will not let him go anywhere without him being around. And a lot of people say, look, we understand that we take a chance living here because it's a tough neighborhood, a convenient one, but a lovely one too. What they're saying is that in the past 3 years, things have gone downhill. Now, there's a start point, COVID. Yeah. Things changed after COVID. And unfortunately, there's a sense of insecurity that has grown to a point where it's completely disproportionate. And my neighbors say that they also feel that nobody's really listening to them.
Yeah, and so let's talk about that. The familiar voice that you're hearing is Stephane Giroux. He's in studio with us, a CTV Montreal reporter, but he's telling us a personal story, living in the village and his car just getting broken into. So nobody's listening. And, as someone who lived in the borough, right? Well, there are counselors. They've come on Robert Beaudry's come on this program. What do we hear? He's the counselor. What do we hear, and what about that political response?
Well, I've seen quite a few administrations, so nobody is worse than any other. They do the best they can in the circumstances they have. But right now, we're in a position where we do not have elected politicians who live in the neighborhood. Our borough mayor is the mayor of Montreal. Our city councillor, who's also on the executive, does not live in a borough. So we're left with representations that depend on citizens' committees, which are not particularly active, and business groups who, of course, are focused on their business needs. And so there's a feeling around that, maybe we don't, if an elected person actually lived in the neighborhood, they wake up in the morning and they see dirty syringes and people overdosing and windows smashed to steal a USB cable. Then they may say, Jesus, maybe now that I see it with my own eyes, maybe there is something else that we could do.
Now, I moved, but it wasn't entirely because of that, right? I had a baby coming, and there's all types of reasons, but it was a factor in the decision to leave downtown. Your neighbors, the ones that you're saying that are saying, well, they either don't feel safe or they don't do the same activities they used to. What have they been telling you as to future in the village?
Well, quite a few are considering moving. I'm going to be honest with you. If I was 10 years younger, I would move. But look, I'm in my late 50s. I'll probably retire sooner than later. Now is not the time to move, because once I retire, I'll live up north full time. But no, do I want to sell and give up the convenience of living next door to work? No, I don't like driving. I don't like commuting. So no, I'd like the convenience of staying here. But if I was 10 years younger, for sale sign
would be there,
and I'd go elsewhere.
Wow.
Would elsewhere be better? Like you said earlier, balance, good, bad.
Right.
Property value. Look, it's downtown, so it will always remain high. I don't think I'd lose money. But the point is people who live there, they pay taxes. And I'm happy to see my tax dollars going to social workers, street workers, and people who can intervene directly with what I call in French the laissés pour compte. People who are unfortunately down on their luck with addiction and mental illness. But some of it, I would really, really like maybe a bit more.
Yeah, to feel that your concerns are at least on the same footing as the concerns of that population that is suffering. Like that you're being heard. Now, Stephane, I just want to ask you this to wrap up, a little bit of an update on the situation with CTV Montreal. Because you did not say, well, you know what, I'm going to move to Nuns Island, so now I have a walk to work. So I guess CTV is now temporarily Nuns Island. There was some question as to how temporary that will be. What's the latest to you and the crew of CTV Montreal?
Well, through the window right now, I'm looking at our regular building. We had a meeting this week with management who said, look, it's going to take a few weeks to clean everything up and get all the servers, the electricity, and everything restored. We're using empty offices at the Bell building on Nuns Island. Yeah. We have a temporary setup, which is interesting. You have Nouveau, RDS, and CTV. Who with news desks feet away from each other. And we had this weird situation, I think it was last week, when Caroline Van Vlartigen was reading the late newscast, and at the same time, you could hear across the hall the RDS play-by-play team cheering the football game. and okay, so I know that we're working on this now. It should be fixed within a day or two. Our technical guys are doing wonderful work. I'm also aware that we're resuming live newscasts at 6. So most of us are working from home, with our laptop computers, doing the editing and writing and everything. So it's not the best situation, but I'll give you this. I watch how my colleagues are going out of their way to make that newscast function despite the headaches. And I'm quite proud of him.
It's the tremendous sense of responsibility, right, that the journalists have, right, to make sure the show goes on and to get people what they want. Yeah.
The viewers expect us. Yeah. And we have to be there. If there's World War III, if there's a natural catastrophe, people need to have their news to know what's going on. And for us, that will always be a priority. Same thing happened in 1998 with the ice storm.
Exactly. Stephane, listen, thank you for coming to our studios, walking over for us. We really appreciate it. Our listeners appreciate hearing your voice, by the way. Thanks so much.
Thanks for having me.
Stephane Giroux from CTV Montreal.